You know.
Yeah.
I get
Finance, back in session. And we have one more thing in finance to finish up, and that's personnel. When I say finance, well, we got a lot to finish up in finance. That's one thing. And, the personnel committee be on the vacancies. You want to take us through that, Danielle, please?
So in your packets were the list of vacancies as of October 7th. It's the colored sheet. So this is an FYI for you. There were the 5 positions that were vacant after the 9/11 date, which was the day we had requested to bring the backfills to personnel. The vacancies prior to 9/11 are listed there. These positions were approved to be filled prior to 9/11. This sheet also is being looked at by departments to see if they do have a need for these positions. I know department heads are having discussions with Brian about some of these and with myself as well. So we will have more. We don't have a final list of what may not be filled. But at this point, this is where we're at. And just wanted to.
Tell us if like, these 3 DSS clerks, are they the 3 that they
Those are.
support and they withdraw?
The 3 X's on the side over there
Okay.
are the ones that were
Okay.
removed today.
That's what.
Yes, and the intake clerk was the one that will come back.
Yep.
And the sheriff's civil clerk, he did pull. So those X's on the far right side were the 5 that we discussed this morning. As the backfills after 9/11.
I think it's important to add that not all of the positions on that list are actually funded. So like the highway worker 3 positions in DPW, those aren't funded positions, those are position kind of holders. So that's why, I mean, just don't assume that every single one of those positions
Right.
have funding or.
Actually, I'd like to update my department. I have hired an assistant county attorney who hopefully will be starting at the beginning of next month. And after the department head meeting on Monday, I did provide Brian some further cuts in my budget, which includes the intern position. So the only vacancy in my office, hopefully that's at the beginning of next month, is the deputy position, which to some degree I have to fill. And how we do it one way or the other will kind of depend on what the board needs to do and wants to do, which I gave Brian kind of an explanation of that. I'll be happy to answer any questions on that. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, Dan, I want to thank you for that, because as I look down this list, they really are gonna have to come in and argue necessity for them. And I understood for at least one of your positions, you had a severe necessity, but some of the rest of these troops here, I don't know that you can argue with people now.
And again, they were approved to be filled in the past.
And my 2 have been given back already as well.
Yes.
Can I just ask for clarification? So, let's say you said that not all the positions have been funded, so the way I read the chart is the ones that are in yellow were not put in the budget, and the ones that I would say budgeted are in the budget. Am I understanding that correctly?
Danielle? Sure.
It was from what I thought. Actually, Deb can probably explain a little bit better about her highway 2 to 3 positions as placeholders.
All I need.
That amount,
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit less, that number for the DPW lines, the highway worker lines. The amounts that are in salary with fringe will be a lot less.
Okay.
Yeah, because, so we need to keep the highway 3s as placeholders. It's not an open position. It's like a kind of promotional position. Like if we want operators, they're highway worker 3s, but they have to have a Class A license. So either we don't have enough people with Class A licenses right now to fill those. The upgrade is what, $3,000. So for some reason, it looks like they're fully funded for a year in budget, but they're not. We only have one highway worker 2 that is full funded, that is.
So the number for the highway worker 3 should be what?
I don't know, but it's whatever upgrade.
So it's just the upgraded amount,
Yes.
3,000 plus benefit.
Well, the benefits don't really change, only the social security on
So if I
the.
only said 3,000, you would say it changed.
No, the social security would change if they moved up to that, but the retirement wouldn't change an instrumental. $2,800. And in your health insurance will be the same, whether you got that or not, so it
We
does,
can change
it's a whole different deal.
69s or.
Mr. Rosa.
I can find the number for you, we get it.
Appreciate it.
It's right here, isn't it?
On that, on the handout you give us the other day, Deb, there were 7 highway worker threes.
What did I hand out? Fresh my memory.
Oh, your staffing pattern, that's yours.
There were 7
Oh,
county worker threes.
Okay.
And then we were discussing about moving one up to take the manager job. And
that's, those are not highway worker fees, those are the foreman. Those are general foreman advisory fees, which is not
Okay.
the same for highway worker.
okay, then I questioned that the other day. Because supers, is that your highway foreman?
Yes,
Okay, you didn't have a highway foreman in any of the. A super 3 in any of the barns. But you had 7. Class 3 highway worker 3s. Down there, and I was questioning about moving one up from down there. And then I see that you are. Was gonna. Hire one or make one or whatever you do.
when the Nancy retires, we would like to replace it with that. General supervisor 3, which is not a position. Oh, this is what I was, oh, this is what it.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, this next time, so it's a little easier to read.
Okay, down the bottom left.
That would be the table we got, but anyway,
I-
sorry to interrupt.
Okay, if it's canceled, then
So,
you have 3 highway or 7 highway worker 3s down in that left bracket.
okay, highway worker 3 is not a supervisor. Highway worker 3 is a truck driver with a class A that is eligible to run equipment.
Okay, and so on that paper, you have no super highway worker 3.
Right. That was kind of approved today.
Okay. Okay, that,
It's a general foreman with highway 3, I guess I should.
So they were two
But
separate.
you didn't know, it was separate. It was her ask, so it should have been separate from that. And then her ask was a highway general supervisor 3 to replace a retirement of a public works manager.
and on that slip,
And it
you
wouldn't have
had
been on
no highway worker 3 super.
that. No,
Okay,
she wouldn't have.
great.
We should probably switch all our titles for the other counties, which are MEO lights, MEO media, MEO heavies, because,
Well, we still wouldn't understand the meeting.
oh,
Yeah.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, do we actually hire highway worker 3s or do we work in that title when they're driving?
we can do both. So they're budgeted for a highway 2. I mean, if a highway 3 leaves, we have to offer seniority to the other highway worker 3 eligible.
If that can make your life a lot easier are the ones that just hold it as a secondary title, those don't need to be in the staffing pattern, only the ones that actually. If their primary title is highway worker 3, then they need to be in your staffing pattern, so that.
Yeah, but then I can't hire them as highway worker 3s.
Right. You're gonna be able to move them up.
Yeah.
Then I gotta wait to come to committee and, you know, then we don't have operators.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it and you can better understand, but I think the way I,
Cause I think right now, a lot of times you have to use somebody's secondary title because you don't have a lot of, right?
no, it's kind of like the highway worker ones, we have to have them when they're unfunded. Just by the way, virtual of the way I works.
If it doesn't help, never mind, I was trying to help.
If it does, I will let you know. I'll have to think it through. Thanks.
The end of all your personnel.
Anybody else have any questions on this? Okay, then we will move into, we have done. Yep, we do have one more personnel.
So this is the time of year when I, typically bring to you the exact salary schedule, right? And you decide what you want to do, for increases or raises. This past year, we talked about the fact, actually the last couple of years, that the county wages are not, comparable or competitive with the wages around us. So, every year we say we're gonna look at it and we're gonna try to adjust the wages. And, that was our thought process for this year going forward. Last year, we told the department heads, yes, we know you have concerns about your wages. Yes, we know you have concerns about retention of your employees and keeping people in your departments. We'll try to address that this year. So they were very patient and, got to this year, and we had a department head meeting Monday and told them that that was most likely not gonna happen this year. That we're not looking at the adjustments that we were once looking at. And we'd like you to review the staff you have in your departments and your services that you're providing, and see if there's any services or staff that possibly you could do without or cut, knowing that that will affect the services that you provide the public. So it changes, I guess, where this next conversation is going a little bit, given our financial situation. I do want to mention before we talk about it, this has been a really taxing time period, not only for you as supervisors that are getting phone calls nonstop at home, but department heads are taking a major hit. They're getting calls at home. Their staff is really worried that they're gonna lose their jobs. And I just want to remind us, and I reminded myself of this morning as I saw a DPW crew outside my house, replacing the culvert and paving, that these people work hard, right? And I guess I take them for granted sometimes. And I was just quickly reminded that they have families at home. They're, dependent on their paychecks. They live in our communities. They are taxpayers. And I think sometimes when you become a county employee, you somehow lose that identity of being a taxpayer and being considered. So I guess, for myself, it was just a reality check this morning. I just wanted to, share it with all of you. Because nobody's in public service for the pay, right? You're often not paid the highest wages in the communities. You used to come to public service for the benefits, and those have all been cut over the years. Retirement's not what it used to be, and so the draw's not there. We don't have people lining up for civil service exams anymore. County used to be a place that people wanted to work, and it's not anymore. I don't know. I ask myself sometimes why people stay in this line of work, right? Why do you want to stay in public service? How are we able to actually keep the group of department heads and staff that we have working in these departments? Because it really amazes me, the dedication that these people have for this county. Like I said, this isn't the first year we've told them to crunch the numbers and to really look at their budgets and see what cuts they can make. It's not the first year we've told them not to ask for deputy positions or extra help in their offices. And it's certainly not the first year we've told them that we can't give you wages, wage increases, or even adjust your salary to where it should be. So somehow they're still here, and I'm very grateful for that. And I told them that at the department head meeting. Like I said, this has really been taxing on the community. I know I've seen a lot of the social media comments, but I've also heard from a lot of the department heads that work here and the staff that works here, and it's causing a lot of stress all around. Obviously, they depend on their wages so that they can pay their mortgages and their groceries and their fuel oil bills. So I just think we got to remember that any effect that we make or any cuts we make, it does affect our communities in the long run. That being said, Danielle and I spent hours and with Sue's assistance looking at the exempt salary schedule and looking at the NISAC survey that comes out every year and looking at the different positions and where they fit and where we are in comparison to others. We have many positions that are the lowest paid in the state, I'll be honest with you. And the adjustment schedule that we made was going to cost somewhere around $940,000 to put these salaries up to a comparable wage. It's not putting you at, or anyone here at the highest in the state by any means, but it's more competitive and in a better spot. That being said, I'm not going to bring that forward today. Like I said, that was a $941,000 increase. And honestly, the reason why that amount is so high, it's because we've had zeros in the past. We've had 1% increases in the past. We've frozen salaries in the past and we've never caught up to that. We used to give employees 3%. And when things got bad 10 or so years ago, went to a couple, 2 or 3 zeros and then went to 1%, and we've never gotten back up to 3%. So that's why our wages have gotten so far behind. And that's why it would cost so much to actually put them up to a competitive wage. So that being said, spent some more time and then looked at percentages. So we could forget about the adjustments altogether and maybe do a percentage increase. Did a couple different drafts of that. Came up with one that was about a $500,000 increase, another one that was about a $3,000 increase. That was at a 5% increase. Given the conversation we've had today, I don't think the county is able to probably even give any percent increase, and maybe you are interested in freezing wages at this point for the exempt salary schedule. I'm not really sure. I don't know, if you're fighting between a 0% freezing wages and a 1%. I don't know that, maybe the county needs 1% more than the employees. 1% really does not affect their paycheck that much. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, and I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of all the employees, but really, 1%, you barely notice. So if the county needs it more, then maybe we want to look at freezing wages. I don't know. So I guess I'll leave that to you to see what kind of direction you want to give as far as the exempt salary schedule. And you're gonna see it when you adopt the budget, I think, right? Is when we bring it forward, I think, or it's
Tentative,
December, January.
It usually comes forward, I think, in the tentative,
Okay.
and then everything gets amended from there on in.
What is in the 2026 budget?
For wages, five.
$5 million is the wage increase that I have.
No, I mean, with the exempt.
It was, well, it would have been the 940 or.
Yeah,
The first
941.
941,
Yeah.
okay, so that's, okay.
And I just want to remember that, or remind everyone that that wasn't an effort just to give everybody raises, right? It's because of the disparity with positions that provide the exact same services within 10 miles of us. And it's also the fact that the hourly positions have crept up on your exempt salary schedule where it's overlapping. So there's no compression anymore. There's no compression. It's actually overlapped it. So it was just trying to put it so that it was in a better spot. But I recognize the fact that we're not in a position to fix that this year.
County's not the only place where hourly can make more than the salary.
Sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
I got plenty of examples
Yeah.
of that.
And I would think if we're doing 1% everywhere else, I think we can do 1% there, other than maybe the supervisors shouldn't be taking anything in this situation, but I think everybody else on that exempt salary schedule should at least get what all our other employees are getting.
Well, do you mind having that conversation now?
And it actually, even though it's not a huge amount of money, it does help offset the
I
health
make a
insurance.
motion that the supervisors stay flat.
That's second.
I do
as
already flat.
No, we were included in the 940.
Yeah.
Take us out.
Okay. Was there more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Al had his hand up.
So I can't speak for the county clerk, but like the sheriff, I'm an elected official, and I'm more than happy to take a zero this year like he did. I'm good with that. I can't speak for Lisa, but as far as the 3 electeds, I'm willing to follow the sheriff's lead to take a zero, that's fine.
We don't have to take a motion for that, do we?
No, I'm just letting him know that he can put that in.
Okay.
And you have other elected positions like the coroners, which I had included on that schedule as well. So if you want to take all of your elected positions and treat them differently, that's okay too. You.
Well, we could go ask them if they,
Yeah, I don't want to speak for all of them, but
So-
just,
thank you for that.
Out of curiosity, you have one other elected official,
you can't control his.
they control his.
The DA, right? That's set by the state.
Nice try.
And reimburse.
Well, we should say all elected, and then they can sue
Some
us.
of it.
They used to reimburse it all and then they started reimbursing half the increase or something. Yeah, that's the way, it's the whole system's that way.
So we got that one. What about, what, so of that 900, so we knocked that down a little bit. But anyone got a thought about where, I don't think 0 is the right answer. I honestly don't. I'd love to say 0 and take it to one. I don't even know if 1 is. Just, we're always setting them back, but where is it? I don't know.
Can I ask where the number is by the time you take away what we just talked about from the total? Oh, I have no idea. Of that right answer. I don't know.
Not much.
There's 91 people on these episodes. I was gonna-
If we're doing the unions and everything.
Well, that's your Danielle. What did I say earlier?
70.
If we took it, so it'd be 71
Without supervisor.
without all the elected.
Without the, right, it's
Other than
71 without
91.
the supervisors and the coroners, I think.
Yeah.
Then you got the other electeds in there, the sheriff, the.
Yeah.
Treasurer, John Clare.
So approximately.
With the 9.
If it's 9.
Salaries are quite different, so.
Take off all the
Yeah.
counts, sorry.
Is that already included in the budget or is that?
Yes, I am in the contingency.
971 was. So
So
anything
anything
with,
have this one, so if we
850. 880.
any reductions with talk is coming out.
It'll come on off it.
Yeah.
Well, if
Charlie.
we bring it to which way? We bring the exempt salaries.
I would bring it to 1,
But what-
just to match whatever we're doing with everybody else, I think it should
what was
match.
the actual question?
Yes. That's where I was at. You have to know that, so the total salaries were 6.1 million in the exempt. So 1% is 61,000, but then some of them take zeros. So
I
you're in the $60,000 range.
I think we gotta. With the unions and everything, I think we gotta go with the 1% this year.
Across the board.
I mean, I didn't wanna do zeros. I just think that's a stick in the eye.
Well, I think.
We don't need to
I
do
think
that.
one's a stick in the eye too. I
Right, but
mean,
at least it's a little something to offset your health
It's a little-
insurance. But
Piece of bark. instead of a
But-
stick.
health insurance is more impressive than you think. We just got our town one. 30 of a family plan is like $37 or $800 per month. That here we're self-insured. This is at the town, they're not. You know, and you're like, really? That's a huge number. It's over $40,000 for a family plan.
One of the issues that has happened with the exempt salary schedule is sometimes it mirrors what you give the unions or the non-union. Other years, you have given the unions have gotten raises, or the, even, I think the non-union hourly may have gotten raises for the exempt salary schedules. So that's why it just isn't terrible.
Yeah, the last time we actually were more than matching when we did the big raise. We were good that way, but it wasn't a percentage.
We gave an hourly
We gave like
increase
$5,000.
or a set dollar. amount
Right, for
increase.
each one or
And
something.
that was just to be more competitive.
That,
with
right,
people around us, and as soon as we did it, they went and gave more.
everybody else did, it, so,
We did.
yeah, we weren't
Didn't help at
competitive
all.
or comparable anymore at that point. So,
Is there, I mean, 61,000 at 1% increase potentially. Is there a way, I mean, we all are thinking about the budget and where we could maybe offset that, okay? And quite frankly, you know, there are things in our budget that I consider fluff. Can we get rid of those things and give the employees at least the potential, you know? I mean, Al talked about, the educational component. I understand that some people are
they need it, it's
required,
necessary to even do it,
are
yeah.
required to travel, but are all of them. The amount that he gave us for educational expenses was fun.
Yes, but
But I remember
that was inaccurate,
561,
sorry.
excuse me.
You weren't here for the correction. Supervisor.
That's the correction.
So the 500,000 included the JPPA program at close to 260, which is still There's still a quarter of a
And
million
we
dollars.
did cut from each department as we went through
So
them,
we
so
might
that's
have
already
gone-
been done.
So we might have gone down by half of the 260,000 might have gone down to 130,000.
No, because some of them are expensive to be at the key, but
Okay.
it probably came down by 30,000. So,
So the other thing is not only the educational piece, we talked about things like, as much as we all love Winterfest, as much as we all love these different things that are, they're small costs, but if you take them away, potentially we could afford this. You know,
so I think here we're gonna come, this is gonna come to a philosophical discussion now, because where I think the problem I have with going there is this: when you raise someone's taxes that we don't know that we can get under 20%, you take a lot of opportunities for people to do things. The parks, Winterfest, things like that are something these people can afford. And I hate to take that away from people at a time that you're shellacking them like that. I just think that's bad. I think we gotta keep everything kind of on an even keel as the cause and effect from some of this stuff. And I think before we talked about closing the parks, and we come to the realization that that's what people can afford in times like this.
didn't say close the park.
No, but that's been brought up before, so not having Winterfest is one of the things at the park. It's a winter activity that sometimes that's what
It has
people get to
value.
do in the winter.
So the other thing was potentially, we buy trinkets. And if I go in the thrift store, I'm gonna see 20 trinkets that say Washington County on. it. Okay, and as much as we like to do giveaways, sometimes it comes a point where you can't afford them. Those are the things that can go away, and nobody's gonna feel it.
And some of those are funded too.
But I don't care if it's funded or not.
No, but I mean they're funded, the state pays for
Let's
that.
get it out of the budget.
So you take it out of the budget, you'd have to take away the revenue too, is all I'm saying.
That's
So
okay
it
with
doesn't, so it's a net zero with that,
It's okay, take it out.
You're talking about all the items like the fair,
like public
public
health.
like that, yeah.
Yeah,
think-
public perception.
Recruitment, things like that.
Yeah, get rid of them, I mean, they probably, everybody's got a closet full of them already anyways. Personally.
Well, usually they get stuff different.
Okay, then they are also to go back to, I mean, we've all been thinking about, I have friends that have law books. And personally, I've seen them go thrown into a dumpster at the end of because they've never been opened. We have shelves and shelves and shelves of law books. And I understand they have to be certified, they have to be upgraded every year. But I'd much rather, if we're gonna take a crunch on other things. I'm sure you have a whole shelf full of law books that you.
I, as part of my cuts, have canceled every renewal subscription.
You did.
And I think a lot of department heads are looking at the fluff and cutting, so.
Yeah.
So I think a
In
lot of
the-
the
in the
things you're
second
referring to,
round.
we've kind of really
Yes.
went through some of those things,
Again,
but I'm open to anything we've missed.
Yeah.
So-
I appreciate that. And everybody that's looking into that, because these things are, different than taking care of our employees. We need our employees. They do an incredible job for us. We value what they do. And you can't just say, hey, not today, not today.
There we go.
But we just took 900 out of the budget. Right, 1%,
Right,
we just took 900 out,
about,
900,000 came out, with that one, if we go with 1%. Everyone good with 1%? We need a motion for that one.
can't, I'll take it out anyway, but yeah, make the motion if you want.
Motion to keep salaried at 1% pay increase.
And,
Second that.
yeah, second that, but I'd like to amend that. to
Yes,
Elected to
The
zero.
answer is yes.
Yeah.
And Kevin has. another-
Includes you.
I know, but I just think the conversation needs to be had about the sewer district before we pass 1% entirely. During my budget, I proposed 2.5%, which the commissioners agreed to. We don't affect the 40% tax increase. And 2.5% for the entire sewer district is about $28,000. Because we are smaller compared to the entire county. So I think that's conversation should be had now before we vote on 1% for the entire county.
But I'll address it. Now? You wanna address it?
Well, the only place he affects the county is on his cap.
And we're not gonna reach the cap.
On his debt service reduces what we can. that right now his debt service is going to, or his adverb is going to debt service, not to operations. So where his ratepayers would potentially pay less if he didn't have. That 28,000 would come off what he would need to raise in O and M. So it does affect two of the towns in our county. Now, it won't affect your levy, but it will still affect.
One volunteer, would he like to comment?
What's that? What was the question?
If sewer district goes 2.5% instead of 1%, that $28,000 is a O and M cost to the two towns that it serves. His argument was it didn't have any effect on the county levy.
He wants to stay at 2.5, even though everybody else in the county's one is okay with Kingsbury and Fort Edward is my question. Right, but you can.
Part of the rating Kingsbury, the ratepayers. I mean, the commission, if that's what they want to do. They're the ones that have the answer to it.
Mr. Fisher is town forever, he's part of the board of.
He approved it anyway.
Kevin, are you referring just to the exempt salary positions or the hourly positions as well? Because you have office staff,
All 15 sewer district.
so they're titled by grade, so they're hourly, so they have to follow
They can't
one
have
of
the,
the,
schedule.
one of the schedules, so we might have to put them at a
Change
grade,
their
right,
grade.
change the grade, so it's close to a 2.5%.
Yeah.
Cause they follow the same schedule as non-union.
If grade 8 gets
That makes
1%, and we have a grade 8, it can't be different.
But we can look into that.
I just wanted to make sure the board was okay with it being separate from everything else at the county, because that's what this would basically do. Or we would tell them they have to be in motion. You can amend your motion to not include the sewer district if that's what you'd like to do.
I will amend the motion to not include the sewer district. 1%.
And you're gonna second that?
I'll second that. But I had a question, should we vote on 0% for the supervisors too? Should we put that in there too?
We already did that. We did that.
We did
Al,
it. Al's got his hand up.
Right, I didn't know if you wanted to clarify, Supervisor Wilson, talked about removing 980,000 from the budget. If this philosophy is passed, it actually removes 5 million.
Right.
Not just the 980. If you apply that 1% countywide, you're actually gonna give them 5 million.
Right, because I'm gonna pull I would be pulling all the benefits that come with that, which it adds up.
Potentially another, $1.5 million if you're gonna take some of that vacancy fruit too.
Right.
So that's progress.
So that gets you under 20.
We'll see, won't we?
Yep.
I always think it does until I go through the
This
numbers.
is austerity, and austerity means business.
So I just want to mention that it sounds great budget wise, right? And what it's gonna do, but this is how our wages got where they were, right? So that's something we gotta worry about. We have to worry about retention, and we have to worry about recruitment going and services we provide. So there's that side of it as well.
And then you've got next year's changes from the federal and state government that will affect us even more and cause a bigger problem. So we don't know what we do now will affect us with what they do to us later.
Some of those aren't coming till October, so we won't know.
Right, so it's gonna be a very interesting 18 to 24 months.
What, I guess my question is, what are you referring? What, are we gonna get punished? We're gonna get slapped in the hand? We're gonna get what?
As far as what? Oh, they're looking at cutting Medicaid was the biggest one. We don't know if they would raise our cap on
Yeah.
Medicaid or what they'll do. We have no idea.
Consent.
SNAP is also another issue.
All the question.
Yeah.
That's the question.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Done.
I'm a no, and I'm gonna explain why I'm a no.
Yep.
Because when you go with a 1%, you're almost better with 0% because we don't know how that's going to affect that individual income tax basis. A lot of times, if you go with a small enough number on it, all it does is they have to take the 1%, puts them in their tax bracket, they end up costing them money rather than giving them anything. And we don't have those numbers to equate to that. So that's, we can actually hurt them by doing it.
Yeah, so maybe.
We're better off to be at 0. I was trying to get my hand up to get that.
Okay.
What we called the question. But we didn't get so maybe, when you give them a 2 or a 3, If it goes up, they still be able to capture some of that. You give them 1%, it goes up, there's nothing near left, it's gone. State gets it, the feds get it, the employee gets less than what they're taking home to begin with.
The brackets all just moved today.
Really?
Up quite a lot, so chances are that we don't have any county employees.
They're gonna reach them on.
There are some low paid.
Couldn't he have shared that with you before you said that?
I could have, I didn't know it. Well, I didn't know it back then.
Are you looking to change?
I'm,
No, Shelley was asking about another thing. We just popped up on the screen, pop up.
okay. You wanna do regular business before we go on to more budget stuff?
Well, I handed out my packet. You've got a lot to do today, so unless you're questions, I'm happy with it, get out of information. We can refer to it during your conversation with the first.
Those facts.
There's the only thing in here, Brian, I need to talk about. The other thing in there is, you want to talk about probably the auction. I was so late in the auction resolution, but it's in my packet and that has. I did send it to her, she has it now, but. And again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, you'll see it Friday.
Bad news is that
Sales tax was.
took a hit again.
Sales tax did take a hit, but it was a reconciliation month, I did verify that. So, the fact that it only went down 80,000 might be a win. If we stay just flat, for the rest of the year, we'll come in at 30,998,000, which is 1.498 million over budget, so. We'll have that, to help offset. Remember, we're projecting anywhere from a 1.9 to a 2.3 additional DSS costs above what we budgeted. So that 1.498 can actually help offset that 1.9 to 2.3, the train that we hear coming down the path.
How do we stand on all the other divisions other than DSS?
So the auction will restore about $974,000 and the payroll breakage will be about 1.3. All in supervisor, if everything else goes well, we'll be between break even and $1 million surplus, somewhere in that range. Is my best guess with the numbers I have today.
Including DSS.
Absorbing their loss, we might still finish about $1 million better than that. Which is not, it's not time to celebrate, but at least it's not going down.
Yeah, they don't. Not including these foreclosures.
That's in my projections. So with all of that factored back in, I think that we're gonna have somewhere around $3.8 million in positive news and about $2.3 million in negative news that I can possibly foresee. My conservative guess is somewhere around $1 million. We'll be able to put that 13 back to 14 million, which is still 6 million lower than year floor. Right? So the good news is I don't project it going down again. Bad news is we're still nowhere near the basement that you set as the board.
And we still aren't getting any reports like from Bricks to us that we mentioned when we had the meeting with the comptroller that said that we should be getting monthly. So that was in June, I believe. And here we are in October and we still have no report on that for us to even know where we're at there. And, you know, that communication has got to open up and I'm hoping to the commissioner that eventually will. But, the problem there is everything's behind. So when December comes, you still don't know what revenue is gonna make it. You might know what you spent, but you're gonna know in March or April again. So so even if we think we're to the good, we could be to the bad.
It still could come back and grab me.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. The auction resolution looks a little bit different this year. Because of the change in the law, I really thought it was important this time to show you this time. So before, I would just present you, here's the winning bidder and here's the amount that they bid. This time I showed you the tax liability and whether it was surplus or deficit. Because under the new legislation, the county has to eat all the losses and pay back all the surplus. So before, we kind of mitigated the losses with the surpluses. The state's taken that away from us. So Supervisor Tull, the reason I'm being conservative is even though there's a restoration on the receivable side, I'm gonna take a $469,000 loss from these auction properties and have to share back all of the surplus. So I'm really trying to be very conservative in where I think fund balance are going, because things like this can creep up rather quickly. Supervisor Hogan.
Explain why they're almost. Keep up. I didn't put this about the same losses that you accounting for.
So so a lot of the losses, unfortunately, are properties that had more than just a 2 year delinquent, could have been through like a bankruptcy or. So if our tax lien becomes bigger than what the property bought at auction, we take a loss. Okay, and you can see on the sheet for the first time, you can see all of the properties where that happened. You gotta remember, we were barred from having an auction for 3 years. So years where we would have normally had an auction and we couldn't, those years of tax liens were added to this auction. You shouldn't see this magnitude of loss again, because this is probably the most, not only is this the most amount of properties you should ever see, it's also the highest amount of liens you should ever see. Because now that we're back on track, you shouldn't see any more than the three normal years. We haven't had an auction since 2019, so these liens were much larger than they would normally have been. But we were barred for 3 years from even having one.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how you're gonna send this money back, because a lot of times these property owners are, they're not alive, just go to probate. You have an administration fee in there to cover all this.
It's all laid out on the law. They have to petition the court. We have noticing responsibilities to the owners. I have another step now that the auction's over. They petition the court, just like you would in like a mortgage foreclosure, like with a bank. And I think it's after 3 years, the money gets turned over to the state comptroller of abandoned properties.
So the responsibility goes back on the owner to petition for the money?
Yes, ma'am.
We
And
basically.
there's
gave
no
it to the court,
circumstance,
so you
where-
guys
there's no
fight over it.
circumstance where we keep it.
That's too bad. Is there an administration fee to do all this?
It's already been taken, it's $250.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So the state benefits. Nice.
No, it actually goes into the abandoned property fund, they can't touch that either. So. Until they change it.
When they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the amount of tax that was owed have been sitting on our books as a receivable?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it hurts us, Supervisor Bell, is the state also makes me report this deferred revenue for those uncollected taxes. That becomes a liability on their foot. So the good part about liquidating these even at a loss is that liability now will go down. And when liabilities go down, our fund equity goes up. So that's the 984,000 I referred to earlier in the conversation. We'll actually receive fund balance go up by that liability going down.
So we'll restore.
The sad
some
thing is,
cash,
it's not cash. It's a book entry that doesn't really.
But it will restore some
It
cash.
will restore
We netted 1.2, right?
whatever the sales up minus the surplus. So the surplus I don't get to keep. But I will earn interest on it while I'm holding it though.
It's the 2.3 minus the 1.6, 1.16, so we, cash went up by 1.2.
Yes, sir.
Our net receivables went down to 0. And our liabilities went down to 0, but it cost 469.
That's fair.
We're not.
So,
The positive in this is, in my opinion, it gets back on the tax roll.
Right.
And so next year, these properties
somebody else won't pay.
will, they'll get back on the tax roll.
Default on.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Somebody else would default on it.
Positive about it. I'm looking at sale price.
Non-consummated, what does that mean?
It means that people bid on the property at auction and did not pay their 20% deposit to consummate the sale.
So
Those properties will be reoffered, but they weren't in time for this resolution.
that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
So second bidders have been notified. If they decline, they'll actually be left over this. In addition to that, without getting into the weeds, I will let you know that we had passed a local law last year that allowed us to go into installment payment agreements with people. I have people that have already failed that program. Those people could potentially also be in part of a leftover auction. because the county already has the right to take those properties. Right, I protected the county, but I still went to court and I still followed all the foreclosure steps that I would have done without the installments to protect the county's interest. So those people will all be notified of their default and that they could be subject to a secondary sale.
The bankruptcy. That discharge of taxes too, or not?
No, so all it does is it could put me on hold for up to 5 years where I can't touch the property. During that time, though, they can make a payment agreement with the trustee and start chipping away. It's a different way to make a payment agreement.
Okay, thank you.
So, since this isn't coming up again, we might as well vote on that now.
What's that?
We don't have.
You want to send it to the floor, I'm assuming.
Right, so we can do that now, so there's no other resolution.
Second. Motion by Dave, second by.
I,
If
No
any-
questions, we're all good?
If
All
any
in
of
favor,
the-
say aye.
Aye. If any of the four unconsummated change between now and Friday, we'll do an amendment from the floor.
Okay.
I think I'll wait. Give me one.
I also, the last thing in here,
Yeah.
which makes me feel like it's a waste of the paper that was printed on.
Ask you that.
The towns, you all got your fiscal stress scores. Of course, I got ours too. And I don't have any faith in the program because the fiscal stress score is like a 13 of it. I'm remembering off the top of my brain. Basically, this fiscal stress score from the comptroller says we're just fine. And by all other measures, we're pretty sure we're not. So
And that'll probably be reflected in next year.
I think that this
It's
is
like a year behind.
this score might be a year behind
That's
because
fine.
there's no metric by which we're not in trouble.
No, right. Last year's not this year. So this year you have more personnel.
This is supposed to be a measurement of 24, which is where they try that again. Okay, I don't agree with the score.
Very good. Okay. So, we want to do the resolutions before we do the budget?
Let's do it, because you got people sitting here. You got people sitting here waiting, let's do it.
Do the resolutions? Okay, resolution A is real property to purchase equipment, a folder, stuffer inserted. By Sam, seconded by Dave, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
B is amend public health cover costs for rabies post-exposure treatment.
So move.
Moving, Daryl, second by Dave, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. C is DSS for secure detention services. Motion by Dave, second by Charlie, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. D is to amend budget, Office of the Aging Unmet Needs Fund. Motion by Dave, second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. E is Sheriff for Governor's Traffic Safety Committee Award. Moved by Dave, second by James. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. F is to amend the budget for jail contract services. Moved by Jim, second by Dave. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. G is the code books that we talked about in our discussions during the budget, and the books have just come out and they're good for 3 to 5 years. I can take them out of the budget by buying them now on contingency, so I'm just gonna, so we'll try that. But Dave, second by Daryl, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And H is to set the date of the annual meeting. It says here, Friday, November 21st in 2025. So moved by Jim, second by Dave. Everyone good with that? With that meeting? That's when we start off all of our budget stuff. It's called our annual meeting. That will be our first, it'll be when we actually do the public hearing for the budget. And it starts off that ceremony, and I think it lasts for December, right? It usually gets recessed that meeting. Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, and then the last one. Is the public hearing on the tentative, or public hearing on the tentative budget of this.
Dave.
Yeah.
I get it. Move by Dave, second by Daryl. Discussion. Here say aye. Aye. Opposed? Yeah. Okay. That all there is?
Brian, did we? That's 40.
Oh, I missed one somewhere.
And
Oh. there it is. Oh, sorry. Oh, Ford and Barn change orders? Do I have any?
Nothing.
Oh, they're on the other. There's no resolution. So it's, you want to say anything on the change orders? It's what you brought in the last meeting. Motion for the Ford and change orders. Moved by Dana, second by Dave. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Oh, land bank, appoint the board of directors to set the public hearing.
I need the names of 5 people who are going to be the initial directors.
I thought it was by position, or am I wrong?
Well, I've heard it a couple different ways, so. Because I have to have it in the certificate of incorporation as well as local law. I've been told at this point that one of them was potentially Supervisor Clary. One was gonna be Laura. One that might be a surprise to her is Miranda. I know Melissa said if she had to, have her. And then I was told there would be a second supervisor who has not been named yet, so at least for a placeholder, I picked somebody on the Ag and Planning Committee, so surprise, Lance.
wonderful.
Those names are all good, then I've got everything ready to go with it.
Dave Smoley at the committee listed some names.
Yes. I think by position or something.
Yeah. Economic Development Director, Treasurer, Chairman of the Board, and 2 supervisors.
And
No, that was not in the motion.
Does that mean you want to be on it or don't?
I was named on it.
No, do you want to be? on it?
Yes, I did.
She does want to be on it.
I think one of the questions was, I know the bylaws, and I made a couple changes from what they were originally proposed to stagger the terms. But it's not everybody going on and off in a given year, but your issue is, I think initially the talk was of a term limit of 3 years, and obviously, you know, somebody may hold over that position longer than that. I guess initially you can put names in and then you can change it however you want 6 months later. So might be my preference to put names in and then change it afterwards, opposed to.
Okay, so go with the, just give us the names again for.
Names I had were Supervisor Clary, Laura Oswald, Miranda, Supervisor Wang, and Trigger Fish.
I'll move it. No, my question is
Yeah,
gonna
do I
be,
need
you wanna be on it or do you want Al on it?
Is there a reason why the treasurer can be on it? Who's in the initial?
My understanding was the treasurer, given how close he is to the foreclosure end of things,
Oh.
would not have been interested. I have what Laura told me and what no one else is.
Whether I'm on the board or not, I'm happy to participate.
Okay.
Does this motion supersede the other
Or
motion?
do I have to rescind my motion?
It will supersede, well, see, no one told me about this.
What we can do to supersede.
There was positions brought up at the last meeting, I thought.
Yeah, well, I think I wasn't at the last.
Do you want to add this?
I'm not.
Which one are you on?
All right, so it says here, Economic Development Director, Treasurer, Chairman of the Board, well, initially Vice Chairman of the Board, and 2 supervisors. Oops.
You weren't here though.
Oh.
I like the group you selected.
The people who selected. And rescind mine. I'll withdraw.
All right, that was what was moved to finance. If you don't have a problem amending the motion. that was-
Yeah, Dave said you'll rescind it.
Yeah,
I'll just
rescind it, whatever you want done, Dan.
Okay.
Is that the official motion? It's gonna show on minutes.
Devil wordsmith.
That's what we're saying. That meeting's gone, that meeting's done.
Right, we can just supersede that.
Supersede it with this one.
Yes.
But I can do.
Okay. So do we have a motion for those names? Moved by Sam, second by
Jim, and just one other thing so everybody's aware. We learned in a meeting a week or so ago that I'm going to referring to the corporation as the Washington County Landholding Corporation, because if we don't have permission from the Department of Finance, we cannot use the term bank. So we will have to get that permission while this is pending. So just so everyone knows, they'll say Landholding Corporation, not Land Bank. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain, probably.
Done?
Should I abstain?
Yes.
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 And then once this is done, now we have to apply to the state next and be a land bank, that.
Yes.
And give them the last thing. Who was doing that?
I believe Laura is coordinating that.
Yeah, I think through the lady.
Just we're down to like only 4 or 5 available spots, so.
Yeah.
Looks like they're gonna grow too.
They
We're still pursuing it if they're not growing.
Originally, their state legislation said 35, and it's currently 31.
Yes. Yeah, pretty sure that Nicole Green will.
That's what I was said.
She will expedite the,
Fair enough. Whatever, but it's what we need to end up. All right, so we got one paper.
Well, we're going right into the budget. I just wanted to show you where we were at the end of our meetings last week. This is what I presented to the department heads. So the right column, all the way over to your right, that's handwritten. As of 10/3, the tax levy was down to 38.75%. Most interesting is that out of the 2.4 that came off, we actually only cut $500,000 in the general fund. The other 1.9 was stealing from reserves and other revenues that were left out. So it was kind of interesting after all that round, that was what we accomplished. Of course, if you follow down to the next one on the carpool, we took 376,000 out of there. So there's 67,000 left to use from the fund balance in carpool as long as it's available, and we'll substantiate that as we move along. County road, we took 177,000 there, and so there's still 381, and we're not quite sure there is that much appropriated fund balance in county road. So we're also gonna have to substantiate what's available there. And road machinery, of course, when you took the trucks and whatever, that's how we got that one zeroed out. So you gotta remember, if carpool, county road and road machinery didn't have enough fund balance, that would have been money on top of the 17.1 million. So then at the bottom, I tried to do this just with expenses for a lot of different reasons instead of, well, I didn't want to put department heads through all that with net cost. So I just pulled out these certain things that are the biggest components, or they're components that are, they're county-wide. They're not like in a significant department. So the 1,551,000 is our share of the health insurance. I think the employees is like another 300,000, but the increase to us, to the taxpayer, will be 1.55 million. The workers' comp is 50,000, but that's shared by everybody. The removal of fund balance, whenever you don't have use any fund balance at all, that's shared by everybody. And if you did use fund balance, it's actually shared by everybody. So that being gone out. The retirement, 1,046,000 was added into the budget from last year's number, shared again by everyone. Assigned council, it actually shows on paper that it's down because of the revenues, but it's a wild card. It's a blank check. How many ever people come through the door, you're gonna make up for that at the end, just like we did this year. So I can't put a number to that because I have no idea what it could be. $0. It could be 10 million. I don't know. In IT, the increase in maintenance, software and that sort of stuff, 711,000. So that total is 19% before you go to any department to get a change. And so I wanted you to realize that half of what our increase was right there. That part is hard to get below. And so I would like to at least get down to it and get lower if I could, but that's gonna take a lot of give backs from departments, and the department heads are trying, they're getting stuff into me. They want everything confidential because they don't want it to go through their departments, what they're looking and willing to cut. I understand that. So that's why I'm not saying any of it. So that's kind of where we're at today. And as that trickles in and I get a chance to go through it and see what I think we would be willing to do or not do, and I will let everyone know. It'll be in my budget message, what's in, what's out as we progress. So.
I just have a question on the carpool, and I don't know the answer to this, but do we know what we actually feel we have for excess cars that we can
No.
put up for auction and
Right.
get rid of them and bring it in as income for us?
Right, well, they always, as the new cars come in, the old cars go out, but as far as making the pool smaller, it takes Charlie's done the most work on it, but it takes a lot of work initially from the board of supervisors with department heads, because everyone believes whatever we're doing is perfect. So you can't convince them that you don't need cars. And there's some places, there's probably some departments where maybe you could pay mileage and not have cars. You can make the pool smaller. And just like we did in the budget meetings, the car that veterans was using, well, they wanted their own car. Well, just take it from our carpool and make it their car, because it was always there for the most part when they wanted it. So it was just there for them to use all the time. It really didn't change anything. And then Al started the program, or initiated the program. We agreed with it to, buy 3 and take 4 from DSS for a year or two, to downsize that a little because of how big their pool had gotten. And so that kept us from buying another car. The sheriff was gracious and let us take the investigator cars and 1 patrol car. And but no, all that stuff needs a better look than what we've given it. Charlie got some impressive material, I thought, put together on that. But that doesn't change the mentality of how the department wants to run that, or what our actual policy is to run that. So all those things have to align to actually have a smaller carpool.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the fact that we take other things out of their budget and they have to learn to work with that. So I don't know why they couldn't learn to work with this as well.
Yeah.
I know we have to have the information stuff. But maybe
And
it's time to start.
well, the hardest part is you have this committee, finance is in charge of it, but Deb runs the carpool, but a lot of those cars aren't under her auspice.
Right.
She's just doing it. So that's why it needs a better look than what we've done in the past. Cassie.
Right. Like, I would think another big number that we would wanna know is items.
Who's?
Items, insurance policy. There must have been an increase there, and it doesn't come up in any of
There
our,
is, yeah,
but it's not included in any of the.
Good Melissa's.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if we touched
I
upon
can't remember how much it was.
I mean, I can
I
see
thought he
like when
mentioned
it's
That's
big of a
another
figure.
countywide.
It's another countywide cost,
So
yeah.
it should be included.
And so
in
would,
this
and
list.
electricity could be too, there is more things you could actually add in, yes,
Like the uncontrollable costs that we can't do anything about should be all included.
right. This was just the quick and easy to not get everybody off page, and here's where we're at.
Right.
But so basically to show that there's about 20% that we can't do a heck of a lot about. I mean, yes, you could take IT off the list, but it's shared by every department. So it wasn't really about IT in general, it was about all the software.
Like major increase.
Yeah.
for the Overall insurance policy would be another big one.
So. What's that? No, sorry, Melissa's talking about it. I didn't know.
Yeah, so even if we get to 20%, that's an excellent point. We're gonna have to tell the story
Right.
Right.
outside of this building.
Yes,
And we probably need the percentages.
This was before you put pen to paper. This was, you came out of the chute with this.
Yeah.
Right, no, so that's what I'm saying.
That's the point.
If this
Yes.
was out there with pen to paper, with something we could hold on to.
and that's,
It's,
Charlie went there. Charlie worked hard on coming up with something that would explain it. My biggest concern about the group of people that will come to the meeting, some of them are gonna be upset from social media and whatever, is you don't wanna take it in a political direction to say, oh, we're doing the best we can for you, because that will just irritate them more. I think you want to tell them exactly what it is not try to sugarcoat it. These are the things we can control, these are the things we can't control, and put it out there that way. And I even talked with Bob this morning, and I thought it might be a good idea at the beginning of our big meeting to maybe have Al actually address the whole group as to why these things are, why these things did happen, a good way to actually set the stage, because I think they're gonna get the most buy-in from Al, is just my belief.
Well, I think that Al's presentation at the department head meeting.
It was very good. Yeah, it
It
was,
said, you know, we could have weathered, there's 5 things that happened here. Any 3 of these 5, we probably could have handled it once.
but all 5 came to us.
Wise, what did it? I think that might be a good.
Miranda?
The question too that you have to be prepared for, because we are getting a lot of these phone calls in our office, and the question is, why just our county is going on that? These are state mandated across the
Yeah.
state, why is it just our county that's raising 20%? So just keep that in mind, if whoever's making the presentation, that's the question, like, why is it?
Well, it
Warren
probably,
County,
it probably
what's the
is to
difference?
this magnitude, but.
Right.
They might be using their savings.
They might be using their savings account, and ours haven't.
Exactly.
Ours
Those
already
are
got
the questions
depleted,
that, like, we
yeah.
can't answer when it comes to, well, why is Washington County?
No, and that's a very good point.
Warren, Saratoga,
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, on the, I know we talk about the mandates. Is it possible to get a list within each department of what they're actually mandated to do?
We've tried.
Well, yeah.
We don't know what's, how accurate it is, but we
think
tried, we're
everybody's
working
behind.
on that. Yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing, they ask you what's mandated, we give a couple real quick ones off our head, but I don't think we really understand. At least I don't, I'll speak for myself on that. In each department, what is actually mandated, so when the department head comes and talks about it, is that a mandate or is that not a mandate, or is it a waste to do thing?
That's what the insert is supposed to be, that goes with the text, but
right, and
that's
that,
kind of what it's supposed to be.
and I guess that's my question to you, did you share those with Sue? Did she wanna do like a spreadsheet to show?
They weren't shared with anyone. I just got them
Okay.
and shared them with you
Okay.
yesterday. So we can go through them
I
and
think
make
that-
a, yeah, we
because-
can do that.
Because she actually does that at the year-end
Yeah.
report, so she could actually look at it and say, well, yeah, that is, but it isn't,
Right.
or there's more there that we're not.
Summer laws and liability.
Yeah.
Not
Which would be
mandated,
Right.
which would be.
And I would think that Sue would have the best handle on that, because she always handles that report, so I
Yeah.
think we wanna work through Sue on that.
Yep, I can do that.
This paper and everything we're looking for. Are these excuses we're supposed to use for being broke?
I wouldn't say they're excuses, they're reality.
Yeah, I know they're reality, but. Man, how do I wanna say it? So we've got to prove our. I guess,
And Supervisor Roselle, part of where you're going, I think, so Supervisor Tall asked an interesting question yesterday. He wanted to know how, what made up that $9 million that we dropped in fund balance? So that might be something I want to share with all of you too, because I gave him a response to his question. Of how, how did we go from, 21 million to 13? How did we get there in 1 year? So I was able to show him the pieces of the puzzle that actually, so maybe that $9 million roadmap has to precede this roadmap,
Yes.
right?
An explanation.
Because the 9 million shows us how we got in trouble, then this shows us the result of that trouble. right?
This
So I
is
think
more to
there-
let you know what
I
I
think it's a
shared with
bi-directional-
department heads more than what we wanna use later.
okay,
Yep.
that's the reason for this is what you shared.
This is what I
Okay.
shared, and I wanted everybody to know what I shared. Charlie?
I think I've got 2 things. One thing I'm having a hard time, and maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but you talk about it a lot, is the net cost basis for each one of our divisions, and so it should look that way.
I'll send it to you.
It would be good in the 5-year trend of that.
Okay, I'll send you the last 5, because I present that every year to the board, so I can
And-
send you each of those.
The biggest
Okay.
problem you'll have is there's like 5 lines in certain departments,
That's okay.
but, so you'd have to add them together and subtract out the ones where
Unless
they
you want me to
put money
roll up
back.
all of the SS
might
in
have-
one line, I can do
Yes.
that.
You might wanna roll it up and
All
make,
netted.
yes,
Big divisions and then.
That's
Where
no
you can,
problem.
where you can aggregate the revenue correctly, because,
that would be ideal.
you know. And the other area is that we're set up structurally to have a very difficult time the way the state has set us up. So let me this is a little longer explanation, but our salaries this year, including fringe, rounded to $60 million. Is that about right, Brian? Salaries.
You're probably right. I haven't added them together. Yeah.
57 million. Our sources of revenue are sales tax, about 30 million. Our ad valorem tax last year was $37 million. And all the other revenue we get are smaller pieces or pay for it, get it back. So we have these big highway pieces. And then we have to spend money also on equipment, replacing our equipment pool every year. So we have salaries of $60 million, modified equipment replacement of a few more $1 million every year, call it 65 million. We have a cap of 2% on this 37 million. If our 65 million expense goes up by 5%, 5% of 65 million is $3,250,000. That's more than, or that's 10%. So we are structurally failing every time we use fund balance historically to keep it at 2%. If we use 3 million in fund balance, we should have only used 1.5 million in fund balance and raised above 2%. But we keep growing fund balance, so when we get a big hit like this, we hit half fund balance, but we should have been raising 3.5%, 4% or 2% above the cap, in my analysis.
You're exactly right, and that's why they did the tax cap originally, was to hold down property tax, and of course, at the time, they believed everybody was hoarding money.
Also, interest rates were zero. I mean, it was.
Well, it was
done
lower,
in-
yes, but the whole idea was to slow down property tax. And because every county, town, everybody had fund balance. Now everybody's used the fund balance where the cap is really out the window because the cost of everything is way higher than the cap ever will be. And even back in the Jimmy Lindsay days, he would say, well, that tax cap sounds awful good, but if your costs increase by 8% every year, how is 2% ever gonna pay it? Well, we were fortunate that we had that run of 20 million to 30 million in sales tax, basically from internet. Sales tax was something new, but every time you add a new sales tax, it takes more money out of somebody's pocket. And that's,
We used that breakage, whether it was employees.
Yes.
To,
we just tried not to tax for that extra for that, because that was the mentality here. We didn't want to tax for anything we did not need.
but going forward, we also need to look further forward, and the sales tax is gonna have to go to 8%. It seems, it just has to. And there, I think we have to get a better handle on the departments that we have been growing at net cost. We're working on very hard. And these boundaries that we have that are county boundaries are unfair in upstate New York, where you have a quarter like 87 that gives county who has it, Highway 87, their sales tax revenue is so substantially higher than the one county away. We should advocate what I call a smearing allocation, just like when we get at our town a sales tax distribution. It's part population, part, what's the property value?
Property values, that's
Population rate. Recognize that doesn't work perfectly from a county level, but from a state level, they should recognize sales tax, or we should recognize. Take 60% local and then smear, maybe it's not 60, but you smear the counties around you. So Washington County would keep 60% of its sales tax, but smear 40%, not to Vermont, please, but that's been Warren, Saratoga.
And they would do the same back.
And they would do the same because to choose your border of where you live and where you work and where you shop, and it's a huge difference, and it shouldn't be that way. It's just some of them.
Albany will be impressed with that idea.
Our neighbors won't be impressed with it.
No,
But it's, you know, we are related.
well, you're right. It makes,
You are related.
it's not a bad idea. I just don't know that you ever get that passed.
It's not gonna
We
hurt.
can only
It's not
change
gonna
the
help some places
things we
out
can change.
here at the, like, because they're all.
Just as the Warren County, because they share more of their sales tax.
Mhm.
Some towns are way up here, some towns are way down. They've tried to change that, not been successful.
But it's at a breaking point, maybe, it needs to.
So look, you'll find it,
There's always no,
but what you find very interesting in this is that Warren County's budget has basically the same amount of sales tax as our budget. Because we only share 8%, they share, or 7%, they share 50%. It's very intriguing. Yes, but it's very intriguing.
30,
So they only have 30 million though in their budget.
right, because, but they have, is it 60 or 90 million? Do they double us or 3 times us?
So I don't know, you have to add,
point.
you have to add in the states and all that.
Is what they're using.
Yeah, they're only using 30 million in their budget.
For instance, just down in, there's a town in Saratoga County. It gets $600,000 in sales. It's a small little town, Northumberland.
Yep.
They get $600,000 in sales tax revenue from Saratoga County. My town gets 35, 40.
Yeah.
It's just such
So
a big
different
difference.
distribution
Because it
rates.
is a big
by the
part
county.
of the budget. As big as our ad valorem, almost.
And we used to get done.
Yeah.
It started out 0, they went to dividing $1 million. And then when we changed it, it actually doubled. Basically, there's 2 million put out.
And one of the interesting conversations, and Supervisor, you and I haven't caught up yet, to show some of the documents. When we talked about 8% last year, we had all kinds of documents that you might be interested in. One of the conversations was if the county went to 8% during the distribution, moving the distribution to 8%. Right, so there's some kind of fairness and equity to back to the towns as well, right?
We should look at it also as how it impacts an individual who's on a fixed income. As well, because it may be, if they have a home that they bought 40 years ago, that's now this much value, but they only are spending, the average person spends here, what, $30,000 a year to get to our $1 billion of sales tax they make.
Well, one of the things that was always thrown in our face was that it was a regressive tax, and then that would just kind of beat for years and years and years.
Yeah, but it.
Everything's always regressive.
But
Every
if
tax
it's
is
purely
regressive.
to be paying on what you spend, and it would, if your property value goes up, I mean, if your property tax goes up by $2,000, but your sales tax would have only hit you by $1,500, you should be doing it in sales tax.
We've
done that analysis, I'm sure.
I think we ran some scenarios.
Yeah.
we did last year. when we had-
And then when we had that as part of our advocacy program last year, so the last
That
Year before, I think.
year before. And we got, you know, the health department still got this stuff, and I think I've got it around somewhere, did some pretty good analysis that
Will
way.
it take 5 years to make that happen? Is that?
About, yeah.
Probably 3 or 5, probably 3.
Well, but it might be as small as 3 of the counties, but.
Right,
Yeah.
so I also would like to see us bring this 8% back to the table. And I think that we would have, again, at least one other county would be, welcoming that. I think what we were looking for last time was a resolution from the board to go forward with the 8%. And then we need it from another county or Warren and Saratoga to be able to go forward, to the legislators to get that.
So you need it right now?
So
As
here's,
soon as you want to do it, we can get the ball rolling, 'cause it's gonna take probably 2 years for
You-
that to happen.
The board wouldn't do that the last time because there's a lot of, you know, citizen pressure jumping up down screaming, no new tax, so that's a new tax, why should people come over here and shop in my store instead of going to Warren County because we're 40% less, which, you know.
it's a great thing to add to the discussion for next Friday's board meeting, because it'll go out of control if we pass that today.
But if it's.
We went to the
something
meeting
we have
the other
to
night.
do,
Right, yeah.
If
We
you
went,
wanna pass a resolution, I'm all for it, go ahead and keep uphill and down.
I guess my biggest question on that is you're behind by 17 million. It would only provide 10, we'd still be at 7 million, 20% nearly. If we had it, what the hell would we tell them then? We're gonna go to 9? How are we gonna get there? That's my question. How are we gonna get, you need to fix your things first and get right sized.
Working on
Jay.
fixing the things.
So, Al, couple of things, Al, 9 million, how much of that is attributed to ESS?
What was their total loss, Brian?
3.488
Last
something.
County,
Last year.
countywide, we ran a $7.7 million deficit, countywide.
But some of that was planned.
So, you know, we hammer on every department that we have control on, and I've stated just before, I really don't wanna cut services and the DPW and the sheriff's up there. I don't want a school bus sliding off the road because we aren't up there plowing that road. And there's things that frustrate the heck out of us that we've talked about that we need to look at trying to adjust how we pay for them, like the psychiatric ward for the other ones where we're paying 600,000, 700,000, you know, get them in-house, get somebody there. And alternatives for the youth. But I'm telling you, we're beating on all our other departments, but we're bleeding at DSS. And my proposal is that we pull 7.5 million off ESS and leave them with the pool that's left. Do with it what you can do, you know, you apply it to where you think it's most important. Because going back to the old original Star Trek movie, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And it's time, we're gonna put more people on the social services if we have a 30-40%.
That's the truth of the matter.
And it doesn't matter if you throw 1 million at this or 50 million, somebody's always gonna come and say, there's the woman with the 3 kids that just got the hell beat out of her and she needs us and we missed her. But on the other side, we can say, well, there's the 2 20-year-olds sitting there with their kid on the porch, chewing gummies and drinking beer and playing on their $1,500 phone. So it's both ways. We gotta stop the bleeding. That's where the bleeding is. We hold all the rest of our.
That was my concern. Do we have the meaningful discussions if we just had more money? And I wanna make sure we always have the meaningful discussions.
You said it right. You said we need to right size first. before you make any of those adjustments.
You know,
We are not right sized.
I haven't had a good chance to thank the board. Those and the department heads, those meetings we just had, I've never had any meetings that good during the budget ever. In the 18 years I've been here, whether I was the budget officer or not, those meetings were the best. We maybe didn't accomplish a lot, but we were all working for a common goal. We were all trying to look at everything in detail. I think we probably even learned a lot from each of the departments of what they actually do, how they actually work. I can't say enough for the board and the department heads for that. That was incredible. I had no expectation for that going in because of the way it had been in the past. And I think it was very important for us all to realize the actual severity of the situation we're in, the financial crisis, and how to find a way out of it. And so I can't thank everybody enough. I mean, that was really great. I mean, I know social media goes off all over the place and there's more misinformation than there is good information. I refuse to do social media that way. So I'm not even on Facebook. It just doesn't happen and it's probably best I'm not. I know myself well enough to know is why I'm not on there. That wouldn't be really good, but everybody else is on there. What's that?
They may not allow you.
Well, yeah, I might.
You were there whether you
I'm
wanted to be
gonna
or
be
not.
thrown off. So, no, I think we've done some really good things. I think like with ARPA money, I feel like it got wasted in one area for sure. But for the most part, we built buildings that we never could have afforded without it and things that actually needed replacing. And I just think it's a great job that we did that.
Just quickly, there's 112 people watching us right now.
That's fine. The more the merrier.
You're right.
Charlie.
One thing in the budget, we have always it appears we almost always are spending out of fund balance for the heavy equipment. We did some work apparently a few years ago to actually get a credit rating for this county, which gives us a much better opportunity to borrow money if we need to. We're already doing a TAN or going through the motion of a TAN.
And that should ruin it if we have any luck at all.
Shouldn't ruin it.
It usually doesn't help your rating as far as I know, but we'll find that out or try to find that out before we actually do it.
We're so under borrowed according to what the standards would be for the state. If we could have borrowings up to 7% of our assessed valuations, full value, which is a lot.
The state's done that. It's worked
We're
real
not gonna
well.
do that.
Well, no, we will once we start.
No, that would be putting a little faith in future supervisor boards to manage money well.
Because we're all the same. History keeps repeating. Every 10 years, we have a 30% increase in sales or in actual property tax. But this time we've went 20, which I think speaks well
We
to
should
what
look
we've
at
tried
what
to
it would
do.
mean to us to do half of we took 2 trucks out of the appropriation, right? So are we looking to do road machinery of about $2 million this year? Is that what we're left with? It was 4 million.
Probably.
If we bonded 1.5 or $2 million, that's 5% of the budget right there. For the cash flow, we're still gonna pay
But
it.
that's not the general fund. So that doesn't help where the tax comes from. The general fund is where everything comes from.
We were gonna pay it out of general.
No,
There's no interfund transfer in general fund to road machinery.
to road machinery, it goes to road and road pays road machinery.
And I think one of the disconnects respectfully is that cash doesn't help my budget. The borrowing wouldn't change, so even if it was general fund, borrowing for the operation isn't a revenue source.
No, I definitely know that.
Right, so, but I mean, he still has to balance the budget, revenue and expense.
But you work on a cash and an accrual basis. So do we keep it as an asset and accrue its depreciation when we buy these things?
So when I borrow, it comes in asset and a liability, it never hits the income statement.
Okay.
Right, so it doesn't help his, but it helps me sleep at night because we have operational cash. It doesn't balance his budget, it doesn't reduce the levy. So while I may be happier, the taxpayers in Bryan are not.
As long as we're into great philosophical things here, I got 2 points. Number one, we keep talking about waiting on non-mandated things. Let's be careful putting that out there as a general statement. There's a lot of the stuff that we think is the most valuable things we do for the county are not mandated things. We've got non-mandated things, first on wheels, stuff like.
Well, the sheriff department, the road patrol, highway, those are all not
Just
mandated.
be careful with that.
Yeah, no, that's really true.
You keep, that's something that's popping up on social media a lot. Well, just put out the non-mandated role.
You won't get down the road, you won't have a sheriff, and you won't get a
You
meal.
cut out whatever the actual value we're doing for the. Number 2, I had a call this morning, I think that a lot of the social media stuff is affecting people, it's affecting our employees, everything else. Just wants to know that's not necessarily all public opinion. I got a call from the Sportsman's Federation this morning. They said, look, we know it's not very much money, but we understand that you guys have got a problem. Thank you very much for helping us out. A couple of years ago when they had a financial crisis and we started giving them some stuff. They said, we're not gonna take our allotment for 25 or 26. They take that out. Now that's only $2,500. That's not a big deal. But they said, we'll still do whatever, we've done for you guys, Winterfest or whatever you asked for, Sportsman Federation, there's a lot of stuff. They even did some fundraising for us a few years ago. But that's a whole group of people. That's when you talk about the Washington County Sportsman Federation, that's about 2,600 people that they represent all over the province. And they're willing to say this, they look at, we understand you got a problem, we're willing to help. No, it's not your fault. Here's what we're gonna do. So not, public opinion, not all entirely negative. You can take $2,500 off the budget.
And you're really right, because I started the department head meeting basically with saying that everyone that gets a check from Washington County is actually a public servant. Doesn't matter how you got here. Whether you're hired, appointed, elected, we're all public servants. But we're serving our own communities. And it's really important we remember that. And that just because things are mandated or unmandated, doesn't really matter. But there's still things we have to do. The reason a lot of these are mandated is because they're things we wouldn't do if we had our choice. But it doesn't mean they don't still need to be done. But a lot of these things.
Or we're doing different.
A lot of things were community based to begin with, and then when government took them over, it probably ruined them and made them 3 times as expensive. So that's kind of what I see. I know Sue does a lot of community stuff, and the only thing I would say to Sue is the part that disturbs me is we need to keep it separate. As soon as you get government to pay for those things, you ruin the community. And you don't maybe realize that yet, but because times like this come, and that's the first thing we do is we take money from all those things that we funded.
People wanna go.
And that's a real problem. And so in my town, I actually won't fund those things purposely because I love the community root based stuff because they can do it and do it better without any red tape, and it's far cheaper. And the people that get passionate about it, it kind of explodes out into the community and more people get passionate. As soon as it's government money, some of those people back away and they're like, oh, it's taken care of now. Don't need to do it. Boy, that's the last thing you want.
I have 3 things now.
Yep.
I had 2. We did the meetings of the mind the other night, talking about the occupancy tax and tourism and where we've gone and how much has come into that. And when I really appreciate all the work that went into that. I felt well attended. And also, so I went back and looked at our data for our area. And to Charlie's point, the majority of people that come and stay with us are from Canada or outside of the state of New York. They spend money in Salem, they go to the restaurants, they go to the different things in the area, and they use the sales tax money. And that sales tax money comes back here. And it's not the 90-year-old woman that's trying to keep her home, living in her house on a fixed income. That money comes, that 8% could help. That's number one, okay? And the occupancy tax, 10 years ago, the cliche or what everybody said, oh, there's no beds in Washington County. We found out that that's not true. Sometimes we have to look beyond what we believe and do a little deeper dive and see where we can have additional revenue or help our people. We shoot ourselves in the foot a lot. So that's number one. The hand up that Bob just talked about, people are generalists, they're generous. They look together, they want to help each other. And we were going to see more and more of that. And what Bob is, I've had the same experience in Salem. People want to help and they're going to look out for each other. And that is never bad.
Well, it's
It
great.
only is strong community. Regarding your town of Hebron, they're all coming to the Salem food pantry.
Yes.
So don't be surprised if the town councilman
But that's the
comes to
way
your
it should
town
work.
board and says, okay, pony up.
But that's not how it should work. If once government's involved, you ruin it. That's the
No,
problem.
it's working fine.
It's like we went to the church dinner the other day. It was a great crowd. A
Yep.
lot of local people, a lot of people giving donations. But I don't know if the donations offset what it actually costs to prepare the food. That I don't know, because I don't know.
It's a lot of hours spent.
But there's a lot of hours spent, but just the people getting together and talking is the benefit of that more so than that they actually got a meal. But some of them, it'll be very important to get that meal and to actually talk to people from in their town.
We need to do more of that.
Yes. No, I was-
And we can't
great.
differentiate between government and community support for each other. When it comes down to brass tacks, we want to make sure that the people in your town are safe, have food to eat, and a roof over their head.
Yes.
And that's basically what I'm here.
I wish we could do some more of what we did the other night.
Yeah.
That short-term rental meeting,
It was great.
being able to connect at that level with people. I wish we could do more of it.
It was very, very well done. And I hope that people walked away from that thinking that, especially with everything going on social media. It didn't exist because we were talking face to face, black Doug did a great job, Laura and Amy, the people were laughing. They were asking more questions.
Just because Al was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. You did a good job.
And I was able, so a lady that came and saw me at the end of it, I was able to help out with her net.
Yeah.
So just being able to connect with people was amazing.
Yep. So thank you.
Any other budget things anyone wants to mention, concerns, areas you want me to really deep dive into, anything?
I believe we made a pretty good dent and
We tried today, yes.
and today, so we'll have to see what the calculations and reeval budget look like. We
If you eat the vacancies, we're at like 7 million, I feel.
We are.
Yeah.
But you can't eat all the vacancies.
Not all of them.
So we can take a look at that and see what else we need to go after.
But it's no small accomplishment.
The bigger issue is that even if we get to 10 million, it's still a 12% increase.
Mhm.
That's a huge increase. Just because you started a bigger number, you gotta remember that that last number is still a big, big number. And the whole idea is what you're trying to do is make it so it's not that big again next year. So you can't eat all the fruit from the tree this year, because you gotta have something for seed. You gotta find a way to replenish that without just taking. Survival mode only works if there's a light at the end of the tunnel and there's a new day coming. And so that's my biggest concern right now. I want to get it to where it belongs, but if we left it at 40, I know we're in trouble next year. And I'm not sure at 12, we're not in trouble, but we should be a lot better off than we would be at 20. You have to break down the things that are costing us money and try to control them better.
I only have one last comment, you do you take this paper and you pull up a red message. I think sometimes if you just talk in percentages, talking set dollars, part of you should try and vote like 18% increase, but you can show where that like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's on there.
No, I realize it's not
Yeah.
here, I just wanted to carry it through and some of you guys, because people will say, what's 20%? So we have the actual dollars in there. That's the only thing.
I'm not used to working with 20 and 30%.
But you
so-
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, I
Break
know what
it
you're
down.
saying. It's a lot easier when it's 2 or
It's
3%.
your message easier understood.
Yeah.
We get it.
So. That's all I have unless anything else we missed. Everyone good? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
You want to adjourn your meeting too?
Yes, finance committee, can I adjourn our meeting?